Hi, I'm Richard Smith, and I'm excited to present my project at Levell. Actually, excited is not the full story, so I'll get into that a little bit later. So Levell is a startup in the early stages of developing an app to manage well-being. And as part of that, it's really important to honestly understand emotions in the workplace and drivers of those emotions. So blockers, challenges, things getting in the way of doing your work well, but also enablers and opportunities. A unique selling point of the app is its basis in research from Yale University and the University of Leipzig. This includes metrics on the level of employee engagement, but also risk of burnout. So why is that important? Well, clearly companies want to have highly engaged people. But recent research indicates that 1 in 5 highly engaged people is at risk of burnout. And I know from personal experience people that have suffered greatly from stress in the workplace without proper support, and the impact that that's had on their work life, and more importantly, their personal life. The data for the project was a survey of emotions commissioned by Yale University. And people were asked to list their top 3 emotions and to give a reason for each of those. So for example, if you'd asked me earlier how I felt, I would say I was happy. I've really enjoyed working with 2 great companies, the ASI and Levell. I'm stressed because I've got to do this presentation later. And I'm actually excited because I'm going to meet some great people later on. So that's an actually more honest assessment of actually how I'm feeling. There were several objectives for the project. I'm going to talk about 2. Identify emotional patterns and any emotion specific to burnout or engagement profiles. Profiles means combinations of the 2. The second objective was to cluster responses, the reasons for emotions, to try to identify topics which links back to these drivers that's important to the app. So the first objective was achieved using a really simple approach, and one of the key lessons from ASI is don't be afraid just to use simple stuff. This was actually quite useful. I looked at just simple word frequencies, and this is a small subset of the findings. So quite surprisingly, there's a lot of overlap in the words used between people at higher risk of burnout compared to people that were at low risk. This actually shows 3 different top emotions for 2 types of profile, people that are highly engaged but at low risk, and compared to people that are exhausted and therefore at high risk but still highly engaged. And you can see actually there's still a few instances of happy for people who are exhausted, but as you might expect, they also are reporting frustrated and stressed at higher frequency to the people that are not at high risk of burnout. So the second objective, to try and identify topics for the drivers, used this approach. So we took the emotion reasons and essentially converted them into numbers, they're word vectors, and then applied a clustering algorithm to try and separate them into distinct groups. And obviously the hope is that these will identify topics for our drivers. So visualization of the output of the clustering is as follows. So I think this is a rather beautiful diagram, and actually I think I'd like to have a picture of this on my wall after the fellowship. So each individual dot, and there are many, many of these, just to go over it again, represents an emotion reason given by a respondent in the survey. And a colour obviously represents the different clusters identified by the algorithm. And you can see that it's actually identified lots of distinct groups. But actually, is that of any use? Well, let's have a look. This cluster on the left, if we look at the original words in the reasons, they include good manager, new manager, supervisor harassment. So clearly that's a topic around manager, so that looks good. Let's look at another one. So this is including words such as busy, very busy, too busy, not busy. So that looks like a topic around workload. Again, really promising, and there's lots of other examples like that. So to summarize, I've revealed the importance of patterns in emotions, and I've identified topics in drivers of emotions. It's been a real pleasure working with Madeline at Levell and my colleagues at Levell, and I really look forward to Levell building on my work to release an app that will make a real difference in people's lives. Thank you.